What's up, you guys? Hope everybody's having a good Thursday night. I know it's pretty late for a lot of people because obviously it's almost 9 o'clock here in Los Angeles, so it's midnight on the East Coast, but I'm just sitting here at the end of the night scrolling through some posts, and I see a lot of people starting to talk about the fact that they feel really tired the last few days, or they notice that they're really moody and tired the last couple of days. So I wanted to come on and address this because we are in the middle of week 3, right? So we're really getting into this. We're really starting to build lean muscle. We're really starting to make progress. We're probably starting to bump up in weights. And this is sort of what I talked about at the beginning about if you might possibly need more fuel, okay? And this is part of the reason that the formula adjusts in phase 2, right? And so we will adjust the formula in phase 2, but if you're feeling really moody all the time, or if you're really, really tired all the time, these are also signs that your body needs more fuel. It's not always going to just be, oh, I feel like I'm starving, so I obviously need more food. Being moody all the time, that's not normal, right? Like, we shouldn't be feeling that way. Being exhausted all the time where you feel like you can't get through your day, that's not normal. So that's telling us that something is going on. And it doesn't mean that the workouts are too hard for you, and it doesn't mean that that the nutrition plan doesn't work. It means we need to adjust. And that's a part of the process. That's a part of the process of health and fitness in life, okay? It's that you have to remember it's not a one size fits all. And just because it worked last month or last week doesn't mean it works this month or this week. It's forever changing because our bodies are forever changing. We're always going through new things. Our hormone levels go up and down. Different things are happening in life. Yes, if you're on Shark Week, for sure, you're probably going to feel tired because that's our hormones and that's, we're losing blood and all of that. But let's take out Shark Week, right? Because if you're on your period, okay, that you just need to get through your period because we know that just causes tiredness, that causes irritability, that causes hunger sometimes. But let's say period aside, let's say you're not on your period and you're feeling moody all the time and you're feeling exhausted all the time. These are indications that you might need more fuel. So I've talked about how to handle this, right? That if you're eating in the weight loss, like if you did the weight loss formula, that you can move up one bracket. So let's say your weight loss formula has you in A and your maintenance puts you in C. Move up to plan B. It's the middle step, and stay there for a good 4 or 5 days at least and see if your body adjusts and if that helps. And if it does, you can stay there for the rest of phase 1 until we redo our formula for phase 2. But these are things we need to take into consideration. It doesn't mean that you need to quit. It doesn't mean that the program isn't worth it or it doesn't work. It just means we need to adjust. Somebody said they're breaking out like crazy. That's normal. That's part of detoxing. And even though we're in day 18 and a lot of the detoxing should be over with, it doesn't mean that it's completely over with. So yeah, your skin breaking out in the first few weeks, that's totally normal. It's again, your body getting rid of the sugar, the alcohol, the processed food, all that stuff, because your body has to expel it some way, right? So it comes out through our pores. So drinking lots of water, that sort of thing. Make sure you wash your face after the workouts, you guys. That's a really big one for me. I always wash my face after my workout because you sweat. And even if you're going to go run about your day, you don't want to walk around with sweat all over your face because then it's going to clog your pores again. So that's just one way of handling breakouts. Alexandra's asking, what if you're not building as much muscle? And she said she's a cancer survivor, thyroid cancer survivor. So the thyroid issue is definitely a little bit different, but you're saying your hormones are on point. So there's no real way for you guys to know how much muscle you're building unless you went and got really detailed tests. So just because you don't see it right away doesn't mean it's not happening. You're burning lots of fat. You are building lean muscle, whether you see it or not. I can't tell you how many people I've seen post their progress photos and say, I don't see much of a change at all, but I feel better. And I look at the photo and I'm like, what? What do you mean you don't see much of a change? Like, your stomach is completely not bloated anymore, or like the muscle definition in your arms is incredible. But we're our own worst critic all the time. We're our own worst critic, and we see ourselves every single day. We look in the mirror every single day. So it's a lot harder to notice changes on our own bodies compared to somebody else. So don't assume that you're not building lean muscle, because the only way you wouldn't be building muscle is if your hormones were off or if you weren't working very hard in the workout. So don't assume that you're not doing well or building muscle like that. I'm reading questions. You guys, I've talked quite a bit in length about what to do if you teach multiple workouts throughout the week. There's lots of videos on it from the first few weeks of me talking about it. It depends on, you don't adjust day by day. That's not how it works. If you're teaching more than 3 or 4 hours a week, in addition to your workouts, you should be eating in maintenance. But you don't jump around from day to day. That confuses your body because it doesn't know how much fuel it's getting. So you still need to be consistent day to day, but you need to decide, if you're working out that hard regularly and teaching that much, then you should probably be eating in maintenance and not weight loss. Let's see. Is it normal to be tired by 8:30? Yeah. It is, especially depending on what time you wake up and then what you're doing throughout your day. There's plenty of days where I lay down with Dominic when I put him to bed at like 8:30, and I'll fall asleep before him. And then by the time he does fall asleep, I'm like crawling to my bed. So yeah, if you said you were falling asleep at 6, then I would say, let's look at it. But if you're getting up at 5 or 6 a.m. and you're tired by 8:30, I don't think that that's abnormal. Somebody said they're still having bloating and gas, and I talked quite a bit about that in a video as well, you guys. But bloating and gas means that you're having a reaction to something. That's the bottom line. It's not that the plan doesn't work. It's not that you're eating more food. It's that you're reacting to a specific food. So you need to take a look at what you've added in since we've started the program. Have you added in new vegetables since we started the program? Are you eating your vegetables different? Like, are you eating them raw instead of cooked? Because raw vegetables can definitely make you more bloated and gassy. Did you start using the performance line? Because sometimes that can make people gassy, the whey and the casein in the performance line. Like, not everybody reacts well to that. So that's where it's really important to pay attention to what is changing in your diet and what you're adding in or what you're taking out. And then if it continues on for a longer period of time, like let's say you're like, nope, everything's the exact same. Well, guys, that's where you have to be sort of your own detective and your own investigator. And that's, when I had gas and bloating for 2 years and couldn't figure out why, and I had to go get my blood work done because I couldn't figure out what I was eating that was causing the issue. And it wasn't until I had my blood work done and I was tested for food sensitivities that I found out that I was severely sensitive to eggs, to peanuts, to almonds, to flax seeds, which are foods that I ate every single day. But I can tell you that 2 of the biggest irritants for gas and bloating are dairy and sugar. So, like processed sugar. I'm not talking about fruit. I'm talking about processed sugar, like white sugar, and gluten. Those are your top 3 that are usually related to gas and bloating. So be aware of those. Dairy, like I said, gluten, and sugar. So take a look at what you're eating and see if something falls into those categories. And like I said, you can also cook those vegetables and things like that. Yes, you can have ribs done in the oven with free spices. Somebody's saying, what medication is allowed? Are we not supposed to take medication or use cough drops? No, guys, if you're sick, you take what you need to. Definitely. Like, I prefer natural cough drops. That's me, because other cough drops have food dye in them and they have sugar in them. So I use doTERRA's Breathe cough drops. That's just what I prefer. But no, you absolutely can take medication. I'm not sure where that came from, but you can definitely, if you're sick and you need medicine, then take it. Somebody said, what do I do if I'm a week behind? I had stomach flu. You can absolutely pick up where you left off because we're not that far in. So if you feel up to it, just pick up where you left off. Let's see. But yeah, you guys, again, back to sort of the topic at hand, which is the moodiness and the tiredness. That if you're feeling those on a very regular basis, if you're incredibly short, irritable, snapping at people, no patience, exhausted, feel like you need coffee all day long, or you're ready to fall asleep at 5 o'clock on the couch, or whatever it is, those are signs that you need more fuel. So if that's happening, then try bumping up a plan and see. Like I said, we got to make adjustments. Like you're just going to have to, like I said, it's an 80-day program for a reason, and there's nothing wrong with making changes throughout the program. And there's tons of people that did it in the original test group. Background Cast did it a little bit here and there. They made adjustments when they needed to. I make adjustments on the regular when I need to. I always eat in plan C for the most part, but if something comes up and I find myself being more active than normal, like when I was in Europe and I was walking 12 miles a day every day for 8 days, I was probably eating in plan D because I was starving. I was doing my regular workouts. I was doing my 80-day obsession workouts, and I was walking 12 miles a day because we were sightseeing. I needed more fuel. I was waking up in the middle of the night starving to the point where I couldn't sleep the first 2 nights. And at first I was like, what is wrong with me? Why am I so hungry? And then I was like, oh, I walked for like 10 hours today. That's what's wrong. I need more fuel than I gave myself. So that week that I was doing all that extra work, I had to bump up a plan. Just be aware that it happens, and don't be afraid of it. Like, don't be afraid to try and make adjustments and see what works and what doesn't. This is all an experiment, really, you guys. That's what it is. That's what life is. Like, you're trying to find what works for you, and it's just about being healthy, right? That's the overall goal. Isn't to just be healthy for, 18 days or 21 days or 80 days or whatever it is. It's to be healthy in general for the rest of our lives. So don't be afraid to take the time to figure that out now, because it might take a week or two to sort of figure out where you need to be with this program, but you have plenty of time, and there is no end goal on your fitness. I talk about this all the time. There's no deadline for getting to your results. You might have a deadline. You might be saying, I want it right now. I want it in exactly 80 days. I want to be at my goal weight by this time. And that's great, and you can definitely work your butt off to get there, but just know that if you don't get there by that date, that doesn't mean you just quit and say, well, I didn't get there. You still keep working, because as long as you're working towards it, you're moving towards it, right? So, like I said, just sort of trust the process and everything about the process, which is the ups and the downs and the figuring it all out too. And we'll all get there together. All right, I am going to log off and shut down for the night. I hope you guys have a great night. I'll talk to you tomorrow.